for the whole packet of vision to come. And almost every time we've had a significant CE-5, it's happened that way. You all have heard of the Phoenix Lights? How many people have heard of that, the thing that, well, most people. You know, in 1997, the Phoenix Lights event happened in Phoenix, all over Arizona, really. And I was there when it happened in March. We were using a digital lab that was actually tied into a covert program, but they were letting me use it, and a picture editor for the BBC was flown in to help me put together this reel of images I've been showing you. And we were doing it to give to members of Congress for the April 1997 briefings in Washington that we were doing for Congress. And so while we're there, while I'm flying in, I'm sitting in my seat, and I'm on a U.S. Airways, I called it U.S. Scareways flight, and U.S. Airways flight, they're now part of American, and we're flying in, and I decided to do the CE-5 protocols. And I was told to ask the ETs, so I asked the ETs to do something while I was there that would be unmistakable, that we could get to put on this reel, this video, to give the members of Congress. That was at 5:30 p.m. At 8:30 p.m., the Phoenix Lights happened as a CE-5. It was a CE-5. And the epicenter where it was right above the lab where I was. And this general, this guy, a former general who worked for Evergreen Transport, a whole bunch of spooks and cutouts for the CIA, came running in. He says, "You wouldn't believe what's going on out there." And I said, "Oh yeah, I would." And so it was on the news that night, you know, all over in the Phoenix area. Now, of course, once I shared this, the UFO subculture covered it up because they think it's all, UFO, it's like the nuts and bolts crowd of ufology, because they don't understand interstellar spacecraft are transdimensional, and their craft and everyone on board are wired into this field of unbounded consciousness. So they don't want to hear that there is a way to actually make contact and use these techniques, although they'll admit that the military has remote viewing, but we can't use it. It's so ridiculous, dysfunctional. So this happened, and it was great because it ended up on the news. We put it on the reel, and we gave it to all these members of Congress. So the Phoenix Lights was an event that was, and I actually saw that event happening that night 3 hours earlier. It'd be interesting to see what a random number generator would have done. By the way, thousands of people saw this. And Dr. Katai, who's a friend of mine, also a medical doctor, filmed it, took pictures of it. And later, a couple hours later, the Air Force put up flares and said it was a National Guard thing. And Fife Symington, the governor of Arizona, did a press conference because there's so many thousands of people who saw it, and had a ridiculous-looking aide come out dressed up as an alien and made fun of it. Later, he admitted that he himself had seen it and that he was very wrong to have ridiculed it and covered it up. And we have him on videotape. By the way, Michael, that needs to be in this movie. And so the movie was coming out in 6 or 7 months. Y'all know about that? Ho ho, boy, it's going to be 1,000 times bigger than Sirius. So that is exactly how you do it. So you take these techniques that you're learning over last night and today, and apply it out in your groups or by yourself for the purpose of making